So I'm a Malin and a Mullen, a McCarroll and a Meenan, a Toomey and an O'Sullivan, and a Reardon and a Murphy. All of my grandparents came from Ireland and their parents before them. I was able to go back and trace my family's roots and visit and meet cousins and have an amazing time visiting. Went to the Inishowen Peninsula. A lot of my grandparents were descended from Owen. And the Malins were the keepers of St. Patrick's Bell. And they could all trace their roots back to this Grandnavalia. Had a chance to go back with a friend from high school. We spent a few days, went up the wild Atlantic coast all the way up to Derry. Got to see some amazing sights and had a great time reconnecting with an old friend. Tense times in Ireland, and my family were pro-IRA and they were anti-treaty, and they left during the Civil War 100 years ago. And still a lot of tension in the north, but you know what? It looks like people want peace, and I met some cousins up there and had a really good time and great interactions with people. Got to go to Mallin's Well and Donegal, all the way out to Tippett and Inishowen. Incredible place. This was a holy site, and the Catholic Church kind of latched onto it as a good way to get the pagans, because they would go there for ceremonies. But Surfer Beach, Rosno, really cool. Great time, met friends along the way. Visited a lot of churches. The Malins were the hereditary keepers of St. Patrick's Bell. There was a blessing from St. Patrick that ordained persons would come from the line. I met a cousin actually in Times Square. When the pandemic started, and when I went over, I got COVID on my last day, and I ended up stranded there for another 7 days, and she took me in. But I got to see more of Ireland than most people that would live in Ireland would have seen. Over 5,000 miles, and went to O'Malley's country, which Melina, taken from the crown. The turbulent O'Malley's, as they were referred to, bishops of Armagh, for a few hundred years would allow nobody else in. And it's a contested area still, and unfortunately there's been bombings in the past, but it looks like peace is going to hold out. I'm hoping anyway. But the original keepers of St. Patrick's Bell, the original bell was kept in Armagh. The bishops for over 200 years, and actually when I went to visit the museum, I found the bell right away. Went to the Hill of Tara, where the kings were inaugurated, and they were paid a full measure. The church of gold and silver of St. Patrick's Bell is the mound of hostages, and a lot of my family is descended from Nile of the 9 hostages. Giant's Causeway, amazing. Got to go with one of my daughters. Met all my adult children there, and got to visit cousins in Tyrone and in Cork. Just incredible sights, and scenery, and the people were incredible. Belfast, beautiful city. My grandparents, my father's parents came from there. The Opera House, this is their family's church. Beautiful city, definitely go back in a heartbeat. Tension's still there, but hopefully peace will prevail. Music everywhere, filled the air. The Irish people love to have fun. They love to dance and have a good time. Visited all 4 of my grandparents' houses. Started off in Cork, the Toomey's house. Brenda, Bridget O'Sullivan, Maggie O'Sullivan, my grandmother and her sister, the Four-Faced Flyer, Shandon Church. And that's where my grandparents, my Toomey family came from. That's the old house there through the gate at Pope's Key. And Patrick and John, and there's Patrick. He showed up in the other side of the family's photo album, and apparently had a crush on my grandmother's sister. So the O'Riordans, Murphys and O'Riordans, came from Glacier-Canleen, and I got to visit the farm. And a great aunt, Julia, had left an album behind, and there were incredible family pictures left behind, and just stuff you don't get. Dogs, and there's Julia there. And Patrick, Toomey, the other side of the family. When I got to go visit, that's the old house. It was a window they probably looked out of. The Mallon's house was razed. There were riots right after they left in Belfast. They got out while the getting was good. Ellen Mullen married a Mallon. Same in the Inishowen Peninsula. They were descendants of Owen. 7 kids. And she was McCarroll. And that's Susanna Meenan McCarroll. And my grandmother as well. Catherine McCarroll. Married Henry Mallon. Dark hedges. Just cool stuff at every turn. Inch Beach. Alleyways. Ferry fields. Church rooms. A lot of wrecked castles. Had a great time along the way. I climbed the tower, actually. Coming up, you'll see it in Kilkenny. This was Glendalough. And the Wicklow Mountains. Got to go to the Irish Sea as well. The heather smelled very sweet. Kilkenny, old, small, medieval city. Lots of back alleyways, churches. You understand the surrender and regrants, how they got to hold their power. They sold out their people. The Roths remained Catholic, and they lost it all to Cromwell. This house was originally started in 1594 and added on to it. Had a well in it, an enclosed garden in a courtyard and a wall. There's a well. Really cool, but yeah, Cromwell came and they lost it all. Easy come, easy go. Butterslip, IRA death site. Butler's Castle, right in Kilkenny. The throne room. King Henry VIII slept there. The tapestries are hundreds of years old. The deer head is mounted at the height it would have stood. Huge animal. If you go to Tipperary, you go to Kerr Castle, you go to Rock Castle, you go to Hoare Abbey. Cool place, beautiful area. Watch your head, definitely. I actually had a cute horror with my kids. That sounds horrible, but when we went to I went to the Hoare Abbey while I dropped them off at the Rock of Cashel. I went to the Rock of Cashel before, so you'll see pictures of both. But they're right next to each other. So right there in Tipperary, you get Rock of Cashel, Hoare Abbey, Kerr Castle. Definitely worth a day. Really beautiful sights, and the angles. This is built on the Devil's Spit. There's a Devil's Bit in a mountain. Looks like somebody took a bite out of the mountain and spit it out, and that's St. Patrick's Rock where this castle was built. A lot of history. I'm not going to go into history. Listen to the music. I took this with my iPhone. There's no light, but it really picked it up, and this was from 1200
really
years
picks up
ago.
the whole thing.
1200 AD, rather. So, yeah. Very well built. Used to have church in there. I like the duel. There's a picture my Aunt Julia took of Karak. Dingle, really cool place. I definitely recommend that if you go, spend the night there, hit all the bars, stop at every castle with sheep in it, go to the Glorious Oratory, do the whole thing, and stop at Foxy's John, get hammered, and hammer. Dingle Pub right across the street. Cromwell destroyed this. He didn't destroy the well. This is Kerry. We took the ferry to Tarbert, across the Shannon River, went up to the cliffs of Moher. Nice way to go. Doolin, really good pub, good music, right by the cliffs. If you speak into the gate and you ask a question, you'll have your answer by nightfall, apparently. That's the legend. At Dunguire's Castle, right outside Galway. Devil's Arithmetic in those stairs, and Galway was gorgeous. Even in the rain. Couldn't get lucky with a statue, I tried. The Galway girl. Spanish Arch. A Galway hooker. Another one. In Rebel County, I got some extra time. I got COVID on the last day, and my cousin said I couldn't stay in the hotel. She took me back to her place and took good care of me. And I got some nighttime excursions, socially distancing so I didn't spread it, but took me to some places that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. So I had an incredible trip, made some real close, lifelong friends. Just had an experience that I'll never forget. Took my kids back, and our last couple of nights, I rented a house in the deck of cards in Cobh. And I got to tell you, the hills there were killer. But the house was incredible, just the scenery. And my cousin actually booked her man, my buddy, and he played right at the bottom of the hill, so all this music in the background was Murty. But just an incredible experience. If you get a chance to go. Definitely worth the while. And I'm hoping to go back again and see stuff I didn't see this time and have more fun and just reconnect and enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm going to just let the music finish. Cheerio.